Eliot's personal life reveals a genuine and profound affection for felines, firmly establishing him as a catman. He owned numerous cats throughout his life, bestowing upon them endearingly whimsical names such as Jelly Lorum, Pettipaws, Whiskus, and George Pushdragon. His connection to these creatures extended beyond mere pet ownership. He was deeply fascinated by their intrinsic nature. As am I. Eliot's intellectual and personal connection to cats stemmed from his observation of their dignified remoteness and wary and frankly selfish relationship with humans. Much like the philosopher Michel de Montaigne, Eliot pondered the dynamic of human-feline interaction, famously questioning, was he playing with his cat, wondered Montaigne, or was his cat playing with him? This inquiry perfectly encapsulates the mysterious allure cats held for him. This fascination with cats' dignified remoteness and wary and frankly selfish nature can be interpreted as a profound reflection of Eliot's own personality. He was notoriously private, almost morbidly so, and was described by close friends like Leonard Woolf as being like someone in a sealed envelope. Cats, in their self-contained independence and enigmatic self-possession, might have been a species with whom Eliot deeply resonated and identified. This suggests that his fondness was not merely a casual affection, but a deep understanding of creatures embodying qualities he valued, or perhaps perceived within himself, thereby adding a subtle, almost autobiographical, layer to his feline observations. The origins of the poems themselves are more complex and personal than commonly understood. While widely known to have begun as whimsical verses penned in letters to his godchildren, in the early 1930s, recent scholarship has unveiled a more intimate genesis. Eliot sent cat-themed verses to Emily Hale, with whom he shared a deeply complex and significant relationship, as early as 1931 following the resumption of their connection in 1930. These poems were not just casual notes, they were unique gifts intended to win and maintain Hale's affection, without requiring an open commitment. Even a later poem, Cat Morgan Introduces Himself, was initially sent to Hale as a birthday gift, before being revised for inclusion in the 1953 edition of Practical Cats. The initial public narrative of the poems being written solely for his godchildren contrasts sharply with the revelation of their earlier origin in letters to Emily Hale. This discovery fundamentally alters the understanding of the poem's personal sources. It suggests that what appears to be light-hearted children's verse may have served a deeper, more intricate emotional purpose for Eliot, a means of ingratiating himself and communicating with Hale within the context of their, quote, unusual circumstances. The, quote, godfather role, therefore, might have served as a convenient quote, outlet for the familial relationship he could not enjoy with Hale, allowing him to express affection while maintaining his characteristic guarded privacy. This interplay highlights how deeply personal, even romantic, motivations can underpin seemingly innocuous creative output, and how subsequent biographical discoveries can profoundly alter literary interpretation, revealing the intricate dance between Eliot's public persona and his private emotional landscape. Adding another layer of complexity to Eliot's animal preferences is the curious case of the Pollicle dogs. Eliot initially envisioned his book as Mr. Eliot's Book of Pollicle Dogs and Jellicle Cats, but he ultimately abandoned the focus on dogs, as they had never exerted the same appeal on his imagination as cats. I feel him there for sure. His portrayal of dogs was strikingly negative, depicting them as gullible simpletons, lower-class British louts, or heathenish foreigners. Significantly, Eliot explicitly linked dogs to the illiterate and uncritical mob, detached from tradition, alienated from religion, and susceptible to mass suggestion in his collection of lectures. The Idea of a Christian Society, published shortly after his cat poems. He even characterized them as heathens in need of enlightenment and discipline from the Christian cats. This strong negative portrayal of dogs, explicitly linking them to the illiterate and uncritical mob and mass suggestion, reveals a subtle political allegory at play. This understanding is further deepened by a deeply personal connection. Eliot's estranged wife, Vivienne High Wood, from whom he separated in 1933, joined Oswald Mosley's British Union of Fascists in December 1934. During the years Eliot composed his cat poems, 1932 to 1938, Vivienne would often wear a fascist uniform and aggressively pursue Eliot around London with her Yorkshire Terrier, Polly. The Pollicle dogs are a direct, mocking reference to this very dog, Polly. This suggests that Eliot's seemingly whimsical animal poetry is imbued with profound personal trauma and the socio-political anxieties of the 1930s, including the ominous rise of fascism in Europe. The ultimate decision to exclude dogs from the collection with the exception of the Pakes and the Pollicles, and focus solely on cats, becomes a symbolic act of rejection of these negative associations. Cats, in this context, are elevated as symbols of order, tradition, and perhaps even Christian virtue, in stark contrast to the heathenish dogs. This demonstrates that the work is far from simple children's verse, revealing a complex interplay of personal history, political commentary, and symbolic representation.